What's up, guys? What is up? Guys, you've reached the afternoon version of Real Life and Law. I am on uh, three platforms at the same time. So give me a shout out. It's a little chilly in my office. That's why I got a jacket. I didn't really fully dress up for you all. But, guys, the whole theme of my show is to help you get your rear end out of a crack. And I'm going to tell you, I'm working on my language. I'm trying to be less repulsive. Now, that doesn't mean I'm going to be totally unrepulsive because some people find me repulsive. I'm just going to try to be less repulsive. I'm going to try to clean up my language. No dirty words because, that might not be a good thing. Let me shut my door over here a little bit so we can capture a little more sound. Uh, so, guys, just let me know. Tap, 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 share, follow, subscribe. You know the drill, guys. So let's talk. Oh, Jack, what's up? Yeah, it's a new and improved. Trying to clean up my act. I've thought about it a lot, and I do. Some of y'all have been following me for a couple of years. I've been on these platforms for a while. My YT channel, not so long, or FB, not so long. Which, by the way, guys, if any of y'all, my regulars, if you don't mind to dip out on some of those other platforms, the YT or the FB, and let me know that we are hearing, y'all are hearing me. So that way it helps me, and it helps you guys. The more interaction we get, the better this show is. So the good shows I leave up on my channel. If I don't get much interaction, um, I'm probably going to delete them. But you can help me on either of these channels, guys. We have a lot of ways you can support me. Just subscribe to my channels, follow me if you can. You can also look at some of my merchandise. I have merchandise. Oops, right over here. Look up there. You can see it. My cup. Um, Gifts are appreciated. You can donate also. I have on my link ways that you can donate. I'd like to get one of those tip jars. I see a lot of live creators have tip jars, and I keep trying to remember to do that. But I do have a way you can give me a tip. You can look on my profile and figure that out easy enough. If you have a call, a concern, guys, I usually it says ask a lawyer. I'm not sure what the title of this is. Maybe ask a hillbilly lawyer, ask a lawyer. I'm not sure. But the whole goal is to have. What's up, Chris? How are you, Chris, in the chat? Thank you. Where you from, Chris? Maybe I don't know. Maybe I've forgotten. Where you from, Chris? And I probably will slurp my tea. If you don't like it, I'm sorry. You can probably gonna have to move on. What's up, North Carolina in the house? Thank you, Chris. I appreciate you. I really do. I really appreciate everyone that bothers to sit around and listen to me yammer. Although I don't really yammer, I try not to yammer. I'm on a little protein kick. I have to drink more protein. So I saved me a shake, Premier. Not my favorite. I like the ones, what is the shit? I can't even remember the name of them. It's a brand new shake. It's 42 grams. That's right. Thank you very much, guys. And I really do appreciate it. Yeah, if you have core power, thank you, Eugene. What a great name. Core power. I like that one. It's a little more expensive. So on a day that I'm not running, I use the Premier. They're a little cheaper, less protein. But like today, I had some heavily loaded French toast on low calorie bread. And so I had those and some bacon. So my protein intake is pretty good today, right now. So we'll just sit around. I did today. I met with my friend. So Sorry about that. I'm trying to build my YouTube channel, and um, I have an archaeologist friend, and we're going to come. I met with him today at lunch. We're going to talk about archaeology and how that relates to the existence, how we can verify the existence of Jesus. It's an interesting topic. He's very good at what he does. He knows what he's doing. And he has taken his last class en route to his master's degree in archaeology. So he will be a bona fide archaeologist. A wonderful fella. I've helped him establish his nonprofit. He's a prosecutor currently, and I really have much respect for him. So, hmm, someone in the chat wants to know is thank you for the question. Thank you for the question. I'd give you a shout out if I knew where you're from. But someone in the chat wants to know is debt relief program better than bankruptcy? And I will tell you uncategorically, no. Most of those debt relief programs that I'm familiar with are horrible. A lot of them want you to remortgage your home to pay for their services. And at the end of the day, you don't know how many people. I've probably filed over 300 bankruptcies in my legal career. I don't do it anymore, but I used to. And of all of the bankruptcies I've filed, probably 5% of them, if not more, came to me after the debt reduction program didn't reduce anything. In fact, it increased their debt. I would never do a debt reduction. In fact, you should go to someone that knows what they're doing, and maybe you might not even need a bankruptcy. Okay. So I'd be happy. That's the kind of consult that I'd have to do in private if you want me to look at your situation. I always say, as a general rule, if you're looking at something under $5,000 worth of debt, and I know that's still a lot of money, but if you're looking at something under 5,000, I would not file a bankruptcy. It will follow you around and crap in your tracks for 8 years now. Bankruptcy stay on your record for 8 years, and you won't be able to. Oh, Lord, no, don't do that. They gave you bad information. Lord, no. If so, in the chat, someone's saying they told him to default on his loans. Do not do that. It puts you in a bad position. Do not do that. Do not. Go to a competent lawyer. Go to a competent lawyer who will help you, because what they want you to do is get pinched. If they're telling you to default, what that does is put you in a position. Once you default, you have it's the point of no return. Don't do that. Sometimes it's just a matter of you restructuring. So it's a bad idea. Very bad. If I was a goat, I'd say bad, bad, bad. Go to a competent bankruptcy lawyer and they will tell you. I spent a lot of my time when I filed. What's up? D Boston is in the house. I spent a lot of my time when I did bankruptcy practice. I spent a lot of my time showing people how to avoid bankruptcy. I, in fact, cost myself a lot of money. There were a lot of times when I could have filed a bankruptcy for somebody, charged them $2,000, and they only had $2,000 worth of debt. I didn't do that. That's not the way to do. That's not the right way to approach it. So you might want to consult. If you do, there's a paper clip. You know what I mean? The paper clip. It's on my profile. Hit that paper clip, and then it'll say. Depends on someone in the chat. Someone in the chat wants to know if you have a pre-indictment. You've not really been indicted, but it's in the pre-indictment phase, whatever that means. If you haven't been indicted yet and it's been 2 years, I might actually engage an attorney to make a few polite phone calls. I have done that many times in my past. If it's been 2 or 3 years, lawyers know how to talk to other lawyers. I was a prosecutor. I promise you, I know how to talk to prosecutors. Call them up, engage a lawyer, call them up and say, "Hey, man, what's the disposition of this? Are we really hot for this guy? Are you really hot for him?" And if they say no, they're not really hot for you, then you got to look and see what state you're in. That also a factor, the state you're in, the length of time. So a lot of that plays into fact. I normally just like to call people. That's what I like to do. I do a lot of someone wants to know, do I do a lot of child custody divorce? I do. I do a lot of child custody, a lot of divorce, grandparent visitation, grandparents' rights. In fact, grandparents don't have a right, but you can argue for them. I do a lot of that. But if you want a personalized consult, now I'll take phone call. I'll take your phone call. I'll take your phone call if you want to share with everybody on the interweb. I'll help you. Well, I'll talk to you, but you gotta tell me what the nature of your call is. Christy, you gotta tell me what the nature of your call is, baby, and I'll let you call if you wanna call. You gotta tell me what the nature is, and if it's a family case, family law matter, divorce, custody, I'm sure I could probably help you. Somebody do me a favor, step out and into my other platforms, the YT and the FB, and let me know if we're coming in loud and clear. I can help you with that, Christy. If you want to call me right now, don't ask me what the number is. It's right there. You can call me. I will actually flash up my number right here because you know what? I have the technology. Hold. Thank you, Sue. My phone number is right there on my screen. I just popped it up. I'm getting fancy with this stuff. Elizabeth, Sue, Sue, thank you on FB. Gotta thank you for helping me. Thank you guys. Appreciate it. So, got the number. I think that's my number. I hope it's my number. It's I think 559-335-3331. I can't see it. Guys, I'm visually impaired. I'm legally blind. I can't see that number, but I believe that's what it is. But it's right there on the screen. You tell me first. You gotta tell me first in the chat what the nature of your business is, and maybe I can help you. If I have to have research, if I have to research your issue, you're just gonna have to book an old-fashioned call, and that does cost you some dinero. Or, guys, if you really want me to if you really want to call me live, you gotta give a little bit of tip, a little bit of tip, like on Home Alone. No, thank you, sir. I have tip from today. Tip, you can do that through my app. I got that $ app where you can do that. It'd be nice if you like what I'm doing. Giving a little tip probably won't hurt. This is Eugene. Hello, this is Eugene. Hi, Christy. How are you, baby? Did you call me this morning, or you just now? Or you the one in the chat that just talked about your issues?
I'd actually been watching you and never really needed legal advice, and then realized that I had you in my back pocket when all of this started to come up, and just never was brave enough to call.
Well, let's do this, Let's do this, Christy. That's okay, and I appreciate it. Let's do this. Give me the 2 minute. Now, guys, and so I'm going to talk to everybody in the chat right now. If you really want to call, it's just like when you talk to your lawyer. You really, if you call up a lawyer and you really want to know if they're going to take your case or not, have the 2 minute summary of your case. You don't need to go back 20 years. You don't need to do that. The 2 minute summary of your issue, what you think the problem is, no matter what, if it's family law or criminal law, no matter what it is, you should always have that 1.5 minute or 2 minute summary and let that person on the phone guide you as to what they need to know. Because they're on the phone, they're busy, they ain't got a lot of time for a lot of background stuff, but they will tell you what they need to know. So, Christy, I wasn't fussing at you, I just giving everybody some information.
No,
So,
absolutely, yes, sir.
so give me the 2 minute, Christy, of what you think the problem is.
Okay, yes, sir. So super long story short, my husband of 13 years relapsed after 11 years of sobriety.
Oh, God bless you. You're in a relationship with someone that has a substance use issue.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, sir.
Well, God bless you. You're a trooper if you're dealing with that. So 13 years of sobriety, he blew it all. And how long has that been since he fell off?
Married 13 years, married 13, and 11 of those years were sober.
All right. So when did he fall off the wagon?
He fell off the wagon almost 3 years ago. But the issue with that is it turned into hallucinations. It turned into me getting 2 temporary protection orders against him, both agreed by the judge. But when it came up at the end of the 30 days, I, like an idiot, believed what I thought he was going to do, and I had it dismissed.
Oh no, Christy, and you already know it, so I'm not going to beat you up over the head with it. Listen, and you know this, you've lived it. Those of you that are listening out here in the internets or the interweb, as we call it, the best predictor of future behavior is past behavior. And if the past behavior tells you one thing, no matter what they say, do not believe it. Past behavior is always the worst. So, so you took him back, you dismissed all those orders, correct?
Yes, sir.
How long ago was that when you dismissed everything?
Sir, that was just over 2 years ago. And then the second one was just over a year ago. And after that one was dismissed, and I realized.
So you did it twice? Not only once, you did it twice?
Yes, sir.
Oh, baby. Baby, 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 baby. Oh, my heart hurts for you. All right. So, well, baby, listen. I know. I'm not trying to beat you up. I promise you I'm not. So let's get it together. And I'm so sorry. I get it. I understand. I can feel the pain. I promise you. So the second time you had things dismissed was a year ago, correct?
It's over a year ago, yes, sir.
So
after that happened,
go ahead.
I said, the hell with this. He hasn't changed. So I took me and my son and I left the state and I left our home, and we have been in another state since. All
right. So hold on. I'm going to give you a golf clap. I think that shows courage. Good job. I'm going to give you the good old fashioned golf clap. So you have shut down communication with him, I'm assuming, right? You have not had any communication with this guy, right?
Correct. Yes, sir.
None. Zero.
I haven't had contact because I have felt pressured to allow him to have contact because I'm afraid that court is going to use that against me, even though I can prove. What are they?
Hold on. Ho. What do you think they're going to use against you?
They're probably going to use against me the fact that I'm not allowing my son to talk to or see his father.
No, you've got a track record of an abusive partner, right? You've got the track record. Don't worry about that. I would not allow my child to be seen by anybody that I believe was a danger to my kids. I wouldn't. I think you're doing the right thing as long as you have all that stuff documented. Even though you dismissed it, that's understandable. We don't like it, and there'll be people that have probably told you you shouldn't do that. I'm not going to tell you that. I'm just saying that's a bad decision, but you've made it right. You've removed yourself and your child from that situation. So you have or have not. I'm a little bit confused. You have not had contact with him, or you have?
I have had some because he is now starting. He sent me divorce papers.
Oh,
because he thinks that's going to scare me to get back.
Good for you. Now, so let me give you some good sound advice. You and your son have been in different location when? For how long?
Since September of last year, sir.
And how old is your son?
No, I'm sorry. No, I'm sorry. This September will be a full year.
All right. So how old is your son?
He's 8 years old, sir.
All right. In most states, once a child is of a certain age, you got a 6-month residence requirement. And you're about there. So what I would do if I was you, immediately, how was you served in another state? How does that happen? Did he get you legally served, or he just mailed you some papers?
No, he had me legally served. He had the police show up yet again to the home I'm staying with our child again.
In another, well, let's hold on. This is in another state, or did he move to your state?
Correct, because he also filed for an emergency custody hearing because he said I kidnapped our son.
All right. So what I would do maybe it's time, it's a 4-alarm fire. What if I would do if I was you? I would get me a lawyer and challenge jurisdiction. He may not have jurisdictions. Once you've already established a residence, and it doesn't take long, 6 months in most states, you can establish a residence. You can claim, and
yes, sir. In February 1st, we established that because I had to have proof of residency for 6 months at our current residence for my son to get some local benefits. Because
there you go. So
with any bill.
So that's the right thing. So get you a lawyer. When were you served?
I was served in early July.
Damn. So you're just now trying to get this figured out? I don't understand. Now I'm confused.
Well, I'm just now not. It's gotten to the point because every time that we have a court date, he has it dismissed. Every time, because he thinks that he's going to scare me.
Okay, hold on. Stop. You're getting in the weeds now. You were served a year ago?
I was served. Yes, sir. No, I was served. Wait. What month are we? I was served in December. I'm sorry. I'm trying to remember the dates of all the things that happened. Filed for divorce, and I was served with paperwork in July.
Okay.
But I was served with emergency custody hearing paperwork in December. And then that kept getting delayed by him, and we just had mediation this past Friday.
You're in mediation? That's not just being served. You're full on in a case, baby.
But here's the thing. It's not court mandated. It's through his lawyer.
Oh,
his lawyer.
Screw that. Listen, I got to tell you this. Screw that. Listen. Because that's his lawyer. Right? If something happens, he's going to come down on the side of him because that's his lawyer. You listen, I'm not going to tell you what you should have done. There's a lot of mistakes here that was made. Since you've already acknowledged service and you're already in a case, it might be difficult for you to file a motion and have that dismissed because of lack of jurisdiction, but that's something you should have already done. Generally, once you start participating in a case, you give up the argument to challenge jurisdiction. I think that ship has already sailed. Do, why do you not? So how far you have to travel for court?
I'm not sure. So where I am at compared to where I was is a little over 900 miles.
When you went to your last court hearing, you had to travel 900 miles to go to his place?
No, sir. No, sir. It was over Zoom.
Oh, that's easier, but it's still no better for you. You've got to get a lawyer. You've got to get a lawyer down there to.
And my biggest issue is that because I am now trying to cover everything on my own for me and my son and to make ends meet, literally at the end when I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to feed us, there's nothing extra.
Well, let's not cry. What? Yeah, I get it. I understand. I promise you. Let's just get through this. So I'm trying to give you the best information I can give you. So
Yes,
you're already in the case, right? And nothing has been dismissed, or what was the you're not going to the mediation?
He asked during mediation that he gets immediate custody of his son.
Oh, that's bullshit.
That I forfeit the home, all of this crazy stuff. I said, absolutely not. At the end of it, she said, okay, well, then we're going to court. I said, yes, ma'am, and I hung up on her.
Oh, okay. You need an advocate. I don't know what to tell you other than you're at the point now where you've got to have somebody to help speak for you. You cannot handle this, as you already know. You can't handle this by yourself. I don't think they have jurisdiction. So what I would do if I was you, this is kind of a Hail Mary. I would go to a legal aid in your community. Legal aid, legal aid, legal aid. Take your papers. Take all the daggone papers you've been served with. The most recent paper you've been served with. The divorce and the emergency custody. Get to a legal aid office and ask them if they can represent you. Tell them you don't think there was jurisdiction, you made a mistake, you didn't have money, and you see they've got to fight you in the court where you live. That's the way that should have been handled. But I'm not saying, again, I'm not beating you up over it, but it's impossible for you to travel that 900 miles. You need to get you an advocate in your town. Go to legal aid and see, because you left um, under problems of domestic issues, right? Domestic mistreatment. So if I were you, try to find out who your legal aid people are in your community. They've a lot of offices, a lot of local offices that do that, and see if that can help you. You've got to get somebody to help you. 900 miles is not acceptable. You can't make it to court. That judge should have probably inquired as to the jurisdiction issue. But a lot of times, and this is what I tell people, and again, I'm going to use this as a time to let people know, judges they're not there to be your lawyer. So they should have. If it was me, I probably as a judge would have said, I don't think this is the right jurisdiction. But that's not a judge's job. If you take on a case by yourself, you are presumed to know what the law is, believe it or not. So you've got a 5-alarm fire on your hands. Did they give you a court date?
No, sir. Everything literally just happened on Friday.
All right. So just take a breath, check your resources there for legal aid. He's already in school. Yes, there is I'm guessing he's already in school, right?
Oh, very
has made friends, is doing way better. So all those things are good things to anchor you there, but you've got to get a lawyer who will be able to undo the mess that's already been created and keep him, because all this stuff is still guided by the best interest of the child. So you weren't a lawyer. Maybe you get a good lawyer that says, hey, she didn't know what was going on. She didn't know. She's not a lawyer. Now we're challenging jurisdiction, because it would be unfair to have her travel 900 miles. So that's what I would tell you to do, okay?
Okay. I
So
really truly appreciate
so
your time.
do that, baby. You gotta get that done. Okay. Find you a lawyer. And if you've got to borrow some money to find somebody to just at least help you fight jurisdiction, you get a lawyer just to zero in on the jurisdiction, and you might
Okay.
have a little better off. Be prepared when you talk to them to know exactly. And these are things you're going to want to tell that lawyer. I was served on this date. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't even know I was answering. I didn't know I was in the case. I've been living here for X number of days. At the time I was served, I'd already established my child's in school. You got to say it. You got to say it quick. He's in school. We've been here a while. I don't know how to fight this. I need some help. Show them the papers and see if you can get a lawyer.
Okay. Yes, sir.
All right.
Thank you so much for
So
your
you,
time.
thank you for reaching out, and I know it's tough, but baby, you got to hold it together. All right. Nothing bad has happened yet so far. Just a lot of junk, a lot of bad motions. So see if you can
I'll
get
be
a
as
lawyer.
strong as I can for that little boy because he deserves the world.
All right, baby. So let's do it. See what you can get done, and drop me a text message and let me know how you're doing with that. Okay.
I appreciate it. I will, sir.
Well,
Thank you
thank
and God bless.
you. All right. Thank you. All right. Yeah, that sucks. You get roped into these things. Like, there's no way that case should be fought on that guy's home turf. No way. Once you live in a place for a certain period of time, what's up, TJ? So I feel bad, boy, but you get sucked in, and before long, you're in it, and you can't undo it a lot of times. 3-day old donut, but they're good. Yes, Alexandra. Um, TJ, they absolutely do get better. Yeah. So you get that's how you know, guys. And this is why, guys, I mean, yeah, I got a piece of a pretzel here too. You just don't know, man. You get sucked into stuff and you think it ain't no big deal. Even like a temporary agreement for custody. Temporary agreements almost always turn into permanent agreements. When someone shows you a temporary agreement and they when someone shows you a temporary agreement and they say to you, "Oh, it's only temporary." There is nothing more permanent than a temporary agreement. Understand that. Commit it to memory. Remember this. Say it to yourself and I'll say it again. There is nothing more permanent than a temporary agreement. That's fact. That's the camel's nose underneath the tent. Oh, it's just for a little bit. Do not believe it. I would all well, so someone in the chat wants to know it's that bankruptcy question again. Would I take bankruptcy over debt relief? It depends on your situation. But this is what I do know. I would never do debt relief. It's a horrible idea. Get a lawyer maybe to work down on that stuff. Those debt relief people are scam artists. But I would have to know your situation. Sometimes you might not need either. Just saying. So, just saying. Yeah, Christy, you did a good thing. As long as there wasn't, listen, you can take your child and move wherever you need to. If you're fleeing from a domestic situation, you've got to protect your kids. So, yeah, Yeah, that your debt don't go away. It'll go away in a bankruptcy. Thank you, Alexandra. Guys, if you're looking in, my name is Eugene. I am an attorney, but I also am a counselor. I'm a certified family court mediator, certified addiction counselor. I'm a certified school teacher. I spent my entire life helping people get their rear ends out of a crack. I said one curse word today, just a minute ago. Oh, credit reporting. Credit don't go away. Sometimes it can be years before someone tries to collect. Um, yeah, I disagree with Dave on that. Someone says, "Do I agree with Mr. Ramsey that unless you're a multimillionaire, you don't need a prenup?" I think most people don't need a prenup. But if you have assets you want to protect, a prenup is a good way to do it. So, um, there's some things I disagree a lot about Dave Ramsey. He is an absolute abolitionist when it comes to bankruptcy. And that's not the way I think. Bankruptcy is there for a reason. It's there for to help you. It's a tool. All right. Do I have an appointment? I don't think I accepted it. Let me look and see. Sometimes I don't get them and I don't accept them. Hold on. Filing bankruptcy will get rid of court ordered payments. Yes, if you include it in your bankruptcy. Bankruptcy will stay, S T A Y. That means it will pause all collection proceedings. It will do that. Thank you. Yeah, I don't have a notice where there's a meeting. Oh, I see it right here. I haven't accepted it in time. It's past my time to accept it. I was busy this morning, so I did not check it to see. In fact, thank you, Lenny. I appreciate it. It is not, in fact, actually, it just went away. I have to accept those about an hour, at least an hour before the booking is due, and it's gone now. It's actually not even on my it's not even on my page. So if you booked a call, you will probably have to rebook it. Don't charge you a second time. Well, it don't charge you when you if we don't connect, it don't charge you. Yeah, it's gone. It actually disappeared. It is gone. So someone in the chat, it said meeting scheduled, but it's not here now for some reason. It went away. Usually you should get a notice that says rebook. Hold on a second. It just now popped up. It popped up again. Hold on. So it's on here. It says it's on here for 4. Let me see. I may have waited too late to yeah, I waited too long to accept it. I did not accept it in time. So I'm going to let it expire and you're going to have to reschedule. It won't, that money won't be charged until I accept. I haven't accepted it yet. So you should, but if, let me tell you what I'll do. If you're still out here and your issue is something I can handle, and you don't mind letting everybody else listen and learn, maybe you can buy me a cup of coffee through my app. No, wait a minute. Listen, not a bummer. Hold on. If you want to tell me what it is in real short order, because if I accept this, then I don't want to do that yet. I'll let you call just like the other lady did. We'll talk about it, but you got to tell me what the issue is. You can buy me a cup of coffee through my app at, say, maybe 15 bucks. How's that? It's better than 79 if I can, if it will work. If you want me to help you out, I'm happy to do that here for just a donation. If you want to do that, we're good. A subscription agreement, if it's on a debt and a subscription agreement, yeah, I can talk to you about that if you want to do that. That is a cup of coffee, but I'm putting him in the front row. He goes up to the front row. A subscription agreement, I'll tell you what I'll do. If you'll call me, I'll talk to you about it. But if I have to research, if it's something I really, when it comes to agreements, I have to see the agreement. So I better not do that until I can talk to you generally about subscription agreements. But as far as actually your particular subscription agreement, I'd have to read it to be really fair. So you might be better off to rebook that call. Uh-uh. So I apologize. I didn't see it earlier. My phone was on silent for most of the morning. Thank you, and I apologize for that. I had a meeting with, the prosecutor and that archaeologist, and I was kind of focused on doing that this morning. Then my electricity went. I had all kinds of problems this morning. Our electricity went out for about an hour and a half or about an hour maybe. So, guys, let's tap, share, follow. You don't have to buy a coffee. That'd be nice to do that. If you tell but you can't call in at all unless you tell me what the issue is. Someone in the chat says they wanted to go to law school, but they feel they're too old because they're 30, and that's fair. Um, I went to law school when I was 33. You've got to weigh it's an investment. It's like taking out a small business loan. If you look at it that way, you gotta look at your return on your investment. Anytime you go into any kind of business proposition, and going to professional school is certainly a business proposition. You gotta look at what it cost you to do that thing, whatever it is, getting some type of certification, some kind of training, some kind of extra education. You gotta look at that as your investment. And then the next thing is how much is that investment gonna cost you? Law school, roughly gonna cost you at minimum $200,000 for the 3 years at minimum, sometimes more, maybe less, but let's look at $200,000 as your investment. That's through loans and grants and things like that. So let's look at your investment of $200,000. The next thing you need to know is how much is that investment? How much is going to be your return on that investment? Law school, if you bust your hiney and you get out and you're a solo practitioner, and if you really work hard and you know what you're doing and you're good at networking, you can expect after about 2 or 3 years, you could expect to make 125 to $150,000 a year. A 200,000 loan, a $200,000 loan probably take you 15 years to pay off, and plus you still have to live. So $150,000 after about 3 or 4 years of good solid work probably is a good investment because you are going to have about uh, 20 at age 30. You're going to have about 35 good, solid years of work. So if you look at it as a 35-year horizon and you really bust your hiney and you do what you need to do, then you should be able to recover that. So I would say at age 30, it is a good investment and your return on that investment will be good. I think at 30, it's a good investment. I did it at 33 and it was a very good investment. Thank you for that. That was a good question. Good, good, good question. Guys, Kim, Kim is in the chat. She says she was in a wreck last year and she needs to find a way to pay for her medical bills. Kim, if it was last year, first question that pops to my mind is how come you don't have a lawyer? If there's no insurance, you ain't getting your medical bills paid. It sounded like to me there was no insurance because if you had a wreck, you'd already had a lawyer if you had insurance, Kim. It sounds like to me you're probably going to have a problem. If you didn't have enough coverage, if you did not have an uninsured or an underinsured motorist coverage, you're probably going to have a problem, Kim. I'm sorry to tell you. Again, I don't have a whole lot of information, but based on what you said, it sounds like to me you're already behind the eight ball because it's been a year, and I think you're behind the eight ball. Guys, thank you very much. Tap, share, follow, subscribe. Guys, I have a subscription on a couple of my other platforms. It does cost a little bit of cash each month. But on one of my platforms, we play trivia twice a month. We give away prizes. It's a lot of fun. Tuesdays, the first and the third Tuesday of each month, we play trivia. We get together. We have fun. If you had another question on accident, and this is common, someone says they were involved in an accident but didn't realize they were hurt until a month later. That almost sounds like a lawyer injury to me. You didn't know you was hurt till you talked to a lawyer. Insurance companies don't like it when lawyers tell people they're hurt. They don't like it. I don't like it. If I've talked to someone and they tell me they ain't hurt, I move on. I don't try to talk them into being hurt. It's a bad way to do a business. I don't like to do it that way. I want to be honest. If someone comes to me, you got to be really hurt. I don't want no fake hurt. I want real hurt. And the way to do that is to absolutely no later than 2 days after your accident, go to the emergency room, get checked out from stem to stern, and note every problem you have. It is unlikely that, and the insurance company will know this, it is unlikely that an injury just sprang up a month after you had a car wreck. I wouldn't take that case because I'd feel like I was manufacturing an injury, and I don't want to manufacture an injury. So I would say you've got a problem. It's the same thing. So the comment is, well, I didn't know I was hurt that bad. The insurance company is going to say the very thing that I just said. Well, why did it take you so long to go to the hospital? Nobody's going to believe it. You ruined your case. it's gonna be hard to relate it back. If you didn't go to the doctor, you didn't get checked out, and you thought it'd be okay. Now, I have used that argument after 2 or 3 days. I would never try to use that argument after a month. Never. Nobody's believing it. And as a lawyer, I want to be able to argue with a full throat and really give it business. And I can't do that if I don't have confidence in the injury. When was the wreck, Kim? Tell me when the wreck was. When was the wreck, Kim? Always see a doctor, no matter how small. Always put it on record. If you don't put it on record, it's hard. Kim, if you want to send me, if you want to call me later and send me your police report, I'll talk to you about the accident after we get off of here. If you want to do that, I would love to take your case. Guys, I only get 20% on any automobile accident I get through social media, just 20%. If it wasn't your fault and you were hurt and you had insurance, I can help you. But send me the police report and then you can call me. I'm happy to take that call. But I need the police report and check your insurance. Do you know if they had insurance, Kim, or did you look at the police report? Were you able to identify if they had insurance? Automobile accident, I can work any state. Thank you, Kim. Kim, did the other driver have insurance? I've settled automobile accidents in 17 different states. And this is a 3-day old pretzel. Still very good. These pretzels were ginormous. $8 a piece. And we didn't know that till my wife, Kim, send me the, if it's a company, they have insurance. So I'll promise you, I'll help you and we'll look at it. Um, so we're in line at this carnival. We just finished up something. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for that. These are soft pretzels. I mean, they're wonderful. So the the vendor that comes to this festival, it's called Hillbilly Days. We're in Pike County, Kentucky, Eastern Kentucky, if you can't tell by my accent. So they have been here every year for the past, I think, 20 years. So everyone knows them. They're I thought they were from the Amish community, but they're Mennonites. So they've established themselves. There's 2 or 3 generations of these people that were working the festival. And we assumed that the pretzels was gonna be or I didn't. When I say we, I'm gonna lay this squarely on my wife's shoulders. She thought the pretzels were the same price as the donuts, and they're big. I'm telling you, the donuts are like this big. They're huge. The pretzels are like, if I had a real one, it's in the kitchen. I don't want to get up from here. They're huge. So my wife assumed that the pretzels were the same price as the donuts. The donuts are like $4 a piece. So she orders a dozen. She orders 2 dozen donuts and a dozen pretzels. Those pretzels were $8 a piece. $8. She told me after they put them in the box and I was carrying them to the car. I said, "Holy cow." $8, but they're damn good. So, yeah, yeah, Alexander, yeah. I bought my that's my mortgage right there. Marianne said we filled up their truck so they can pull their trailer. Yeah, 96 for a dollar for a dozen. Yeah, that ain't counting those donuts. I think we bought 2 dozen of them. I don't know. Hillbilly Days is over, yes. Yesterday, what the culmination was the race. Thank you, Aspen. Yeah, YOLO, baby. YOLO. Let me look, Aspen. It says Aspenstein in my yeah, yeah, she would be upset. Here, let's look here and see. Um, Let me look here and see. Pin site. It looks like yes, I've got it. I'm gonna accept it right now. You should be getting an email, guys. This is real in real time. You thank you, and I'll read your statement right now. Very good. So I sent it. I confirmed it. Hopefully, we'll be good to go tomorrow. It's Tuesday at 4 o'clock. I think it said. So we'll get it on Tuesday. No, Tuesday at 3 o'clock. Got it. Okay, I see that. Do you already have your agreement together? You're trying to go into business, the food business. I will tell you, the food business is tough, 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 tough. And I would really, if I were you, I'll look at your agreement if you have it. Send it to me in an email. Um, that's a lot of that's a big chunk of money. That's a big chunk of money to lay down. Now you really this is where you really need to vet your business partners. You need to really dig in and look at them and look at their associates. So I'll look at your agreement, but that's a big deal. That's a lot of money. I'm all about investments. I like it, but you got to be smart about it. And your agreement should, and I'll read it and I'll tell you all this when I look at it. Your agreement should spell out everybody's responsibilities. So you're welcome. Thank you. Come on, guys, let's go. This program is all about you, your life, and the law. What's up, Nellie Johnson? How are you? What's your question, Nellie? What's up, Nick? Nick. What's that on Family Ties? Nick. That character, Nick. You need to watch it, Nick. You're missing out, buddy. Nick. I believe it was Family Ties with Michael Keaton or Michael J. Fox. I think Michael Gross was the daddy on there. A neighbor trying to move their fence onto your property. So, this is the way you always do boundary disputes. If they're already moving that fence, that is time which you really need to take action. If you do not take action by the time they get it done, the judge might say you waited too long, right? Don't wait until they finish the fence and 2 or 3 years down the road and then decide to do something. You got to do something now. Look at your survey. Hopefully, your property is surveyed. If you have a surveyed, a certified survey of your property, what you'll want to do is send that along with a letter to the property owner and say, "Hey, I noticed you've been building this fence, and by my reading of the survey and the lot description of the deed, you're coming over onto my property, and you got to stop. And you need to be sportsman, 'cause one of your neighbors, you say, "Listen, I want you to have every inch of property you own, but I don't want you to take 1 inch of my property, and I believe you're about ready to do that. And if you don't stop, we're gonna go to court and see what they say." They may tell you to kiss your hiney. They may say nothing, which is probably more the case. Most people are just bullies when it comes to property. They put you in a position to where you have to sue them. Your survey is proper, and you know, you need to take note of who's working on the property because you'll want to sue them also. Get everybody involved. If you're going to pull that trigger and you're going to sue everybody, or you're going to sue your neighbor, you sue everybody that touched that property. Everybody. Sue them all. Good question. I get a lot of property questions all the time. Well, you need to sue them. It's time for you send a letter and I love Jenkins. Thank you, Nellie. Love my people over in Jenkins. I have spent some time over there. I was a high school guidance counselor and I used to travel over there a lot and worked at the high school there in Jenkins and around Letcher County. I like Jenkins. It's a lot of fun. Back in the day, that was a long time ago. The guidance counselor over there used to be I think he was a Johnson. Uh, I think his name was Dino. He was the guidance counselor over there in Jenkins. Really nice fella. I liked him. He was a character. Guys, come on now. This is your show. You're welcome, Nellie. Guys, if you like what I'm doing, find a way to support me. You can, oh, there it is. I always forget. You can take a look at my merchandise. You see that up there? That's a good one. I've got it on a hoodie. I got some fellas that ride bike. Squint your eyes. Make the phone number bigger. That's as big as it gets. Get a little closer to the screen. And you can't, I ain't going to answer the call anyway unless you tell me what the issue is. So take a look at the merch, guys. I got it on my page. There's some fellas that bought a whole bunch of those and they ride that on their motorcycle rides. I found that to be funny. I've got, you could enlarge those phone screens. Oh, first time I've had this question. Thank you very much. So, someone in the chat says, let me adjust my seat here. Who day? Who day? Who? Someone wants to know, says they just left their job and the employer wants you to do an exit interview. The question is, should you do them? You don't have to. I'll tell you what they want, what they'll tell you the exit interviews usually is for, so they can get more information, so they can be a better company because they want to know why you left. That's baloney. The most purpose of those exit interviews is to get you to sign documents saying you ain't going to sue them later on. That's the big purpose. HR departments are not your friend. Their sole existence is the benefit of the company. It's not ever for your benefit. So particularly if you left under bad situation, like maybe they were doing something wrong or maybe, there's something going on at the company. Um, exit Exit interviews are generally, the only purpose of an exit interview is for the company's purpose. There's no law that says you have to. They can't even hold your check. Now, sometimes they'll scare you and say, when you do that exit interview, we'll give you your check. That's baloney. They can't do that. Once you've worked enough hours and they owe you a check, they cannot hold it, in exchange for that exit interview. That's slimy and it's against the law. So I personally would not do it. And sometimes they'll offer you some kind of severance package, and but they'll want you to sign some documents. So it's just however you want to do it. If you want to go and just blast them, go and blast them, but don't sign anything. You can go and give your 2 cents or not. Ask them to send you an interview by paper. Tell them to send it to you in an email, and then you'll give it some thought. But most of the time, it's for their purpose. Good question. The very first time I've had that question. I'm always amazed at how many first time questions I get on issues that I've never had before here. That's a very, very good one. Anytime you leave a company, you need to be very careful. First thing you should do before you leave is get your personnel file, get copies of everything in your personnel file. If you haven't put in any kind of notice, get all of your personnel files. Get everything of any importance out of your desk. Because once you tell that employer you're going to leave, but you're going to give them a 2 weeks notice, sometimes they'll just tell you to leave now. That sounds a little cold, but and I have done that to employees. When they tell me they're gonna put in 2 weeks notice, because I learned my lesson. I let somebody give 2 week notice, and they locked up every computer that I had, and I had to spend a lot of money to get them unlocked. So, when someone tells me they're putting in 2 week notice, I just tell them to leave now. I I just tell them to leave now. I say, "Leave now." I don't You don't need to do that 2 week thing, I'll say. I don't care, just go ahead and leave. Because you get an employee who doesn't like you, and they will cause all kinds of mischief. And once someone has made a decision, that's why and again, I always try to caution people. The best time to find a job is when you have a job. Once you tell that employer you're thinking about leaving, they will automatically strike you off their list of any potential upgrades, raises, promotions. They'll So you never leave, you never tell that employer you're thinking about leaving until you're damn well ready to leave. And they do have to give you personnel files. They're yours. Just go to the HR department and say, "I'd like to have my files, please. I just need them. I would like to know I've been here for a while, and I've never looked at those. I'd really like to know what's in my personnel file." They have to give them to you. It's yours. They have to give you what's in it. They have to give you your performance reports and all of that. Now, when you do that, they're going to raise some eyebrows, but you can get it. You're entitled to it. Because if you leave and then when you sue, you can't get those things until after you file the proper paperwork. And it's a good idea to have it so that way they can't slip anything in your file after you've left, which happens. They make shit up. Pardon me, I cursed again. They make stuff up, and, it does happen. You don't you don't have to give any notice. You can just quit. Now that's not a good way to get you a good, referral letter, but, you know, that's not a good way to get a reference letter. But sometimes a reference letter, if it's a small job and you only worked there for a year or so, it might not be a real good reference anyway. But the big thing about the job market is you really don't want to have any gaps in your resume unless you can really explain it. Like maybe you had some kind of, you was caring for somebody at your home who was ill or something like that. When you have a 1 or a 2 year gap in your employment, it makes you look a little suspect. So gaps in your employment is not good, and you want to try to avoid that. You gotta be real careful about the way you approach a new job and a prospective employer. Say as little as possible. Put the facts out there, how long you worked at a place, and that's it. Don't badmouth them. Don't do any of that because they'll check. What's up, Bob? My daughter Anna is in the chat, guys. I think me and your mother, Anna, are going to Charleston tomorrow. I think she said she wanted to go. Thank you, Mike. It says Mikey in my earphones. Hopefully, I've got that right, Mikey. Come on, Bob. Thank you, Mikey. I appreciate that. What is it's cold. Anna wants me to sit outside on some bleachers and watch a ball game. It is cold outside, and I'm frail. I've got my sad face in case you all can't see it. I've got my sad face. Bringing a blanket. How about this? Is this good? I'm giving everybody my sad face. It only works. N No pity. Yeah, if y'all are listening to this on my, Spotify, then, you will see the, puppy dog eyes. You won't be able to see it on my Spotify, but on my YouTube, you can see it, or my TikTok, or my thank you, guys. I don't like the cold, though. Who does debt relief for me? Nobody. I do. I pay my own way. What kind of question is that? I don't do debt relief. But in full disclosure, um, I fi yeah, I don't do well in the cold, never have. Don't like it, my hands get cold quick. Um, I do not like when I was young, and I'll tell you where this stems from. When I was young, we lived in really bad housing. We lived in houses oftentimes that didn't have electricity, and when I mean electricity, we had no electricity except sometimes there would be maybe an extension cord going from the landlord's house to our house, 1 or maybe 2 extension cords. And we heated with, fireplace heat, and oftentimes it was very cold. I spent probably, 8 or 9 years of my formative years, that is from about age 7 to about 17, about 10 years, in substandard housing. Well, I lived in houses that you would never ask anybody to live in, and I was always cold. I was always cold, and we always had bad transportation. And when it's cold, things break down. It seemed like things are always breaking down in the cold. And sometimes we lived in houses that we did have some water, running water, and the pipes would freeze. So I spent most of my childhood being cold and hungry and the transportation. So I resolved early on as a young kid, especially when I went to college and I understood that I had to really get educated in order to get out of the situation that I was in. and that all of my friends were in. I had friends that was just like me. We didn't have any money. We didn't have any good houses. We didn't have any good water. And I realized the only way I was gonna be able to break out of that was to get educated and do something different. And so I vowed when I was in high school that there were 2 things I wanted when I had money. I wanted not to be cold, just the most basic of things that I wanted. I wanted not to be cold, and I wanted a car that was reliable because I could never go anywhere. Me and my mother, my brothers and sisters sat home a lot of times because we didn't have transportation. And when we did have transportation, it wasn't very reliable. My father was gone a lot of times. He drank a lot. He played music. He was traveling. He was gone. So I vowed that I wanted not to be cold and I wanted good solid transportation. And that was I wanted a new car. And so after I got out of college and got me a job, my father-in-law helped us buy a new car. We bought a Ford Tempo was the first car we actually purchased in our name. But I just love having reliable transportation because without reliable transportation, you can't work. Without license, I tell people the most prized possession you will ever have in your life are your kids, if you have kids, and your driver's license. If you have a driver's license, that means you can travel to work. You can get a job. You can do things. If you don't have good license, you can't do anything. You're limited. So protect those driver's license. It's one of the most valuable things you can own. So, what do you need a passport for? If you're poor, you ain't thinking about a passport, but you do need a driver's license. So I'm starting small. I'm not talking big. I reliable transportation and your driver's license. Yes, those, but I wanted not to be cold. I mean, very basic. I was cold. I was cold my whole life, my whole young life. I hated it. And I've said this before, some of you are new, and this is absolute fact. I would we had to wash sometimes our hair in a sink basin with carried water from the well and didn't take a bath but maybe once a week. And it would be so cold in the house when I washed my at least I would wash my hair to look like everybody else. I would wash my hair in the sink, and by the time I got out into the living room where we had our fireplace, my hair would freeze. My hair would literally freeze when we were waiting on the school bus. That's how cold it was. It was really cold. And I hate it. I hate being cold. So today I hate being cold. I hate it. My wife gets mad because I'll have uh I want it warm when I get up in the morning. So I'll turn the heat on because I can afford the heat. I couldn't afford heat when I was little. And when I can afford it, by golly, I want heat. And I want not to be hungry because I was hungry a lot. Hungry is a horrible thing. So, that's me. I don't like being cold. No, my kids don't know what that's like. Now, although my older kids didn't have the benefit, but now we never lived in bad shacks. A couple we lived in some bad places when the kids was little, but nothing like what I was subjected to. Um, and they were so little that when you're little, you don't notice it, we lived in really bad places and I remember them, but I never I never thought it was a big deal where we lived. I because everybody around me was like us. We were all the same, so it never struck me as being odd. It was only odd after I got out and I realized everybody don't live that way. Hannah is the golden child. My youngest daughter, who's in the chat, she came along when I started making really good money. The other 3, we were scrapping, right? Me and my wife were scrapping. We were on food stamps, for different parts of their lives, the older ones, but with Anna, I was making really good. Yeah, if you are a product of your environment, that's a good question. Someone made a comment and said, "Well, does it work the other way?" If wealthy people, um, in the chat, someone wants to know if wealthy people think the same way that everybody has money. Yes, they do think that. That's why some of our politicians who's never we've got a lot of a political class in our country who have never had to work a job. They've never had to be accountable for money. They've always had money. And that's why you can tell by the policies that they support that they really aren't for someone that doesn't have money. They believe everybody has money. And I'll tell you how you know that is we have in our area is very impoverished. And the simple thing like internet around like an educated people. Now my kids are educated. I'm educated. My wife's educated. All of our friends are educated. But I will tell you, a lot of these educated people cannot fathom that there are people out there, probably their neighbors, that are not educated. They never went to school past 10th grade. They dropped out. They're not educated. Everyone, like they think, well, you mean you got people that haven't graduated from high school in your area? Yes. Yes, because you tend to think of this stuff in a bubble. If you have a lot of money and you were raised around money, then you think everybody else has money. It's the same thing. Internet. Everybody thinks everybody has internet, but they don't. Most of the people around here still don't have internet. Most, not just a little, most. So, yeah, that's a good observation. I think it's because I see it with my kids and money. I think it took them a while because they went to a private school where everyone in the school had money except us. My mother and father-in-law paid for their education early on until I started making money. Our kids got grants and scholarships to where they could go to private school, and they were surrounded by people that had money. When they went to the high school, they went to the best high school in the county. Everybody in that high school, about 80% of the people in that high school don't qualify for free or reduced lunch, or they used to. Now it's a little more than that. So all of their friends have means, and it was hard for them to understand the concept of not everybody has money. Not everybody takes vacation. You get in these bubbles in school, and I hear it when I used to attend PTA meetings and committee meetings. They would schedule these events around vacation, and I used to call them out on it all the time. I would say, "Do you all not," and this way I would say it, not everybody takes a vacation. Most people in this area can't afford a vacation. So if we're going to schedule something, stop scheduling around your vacation because you think everybody, because that's what they say. Oh, we can't schedule it on this day because everybody's got vacation. Or we can't do it on a Wednesday night because everybody goes to church. I say not everybody goes to church. Not everybody goes vacation. So let's rework that thinking. Needless to say, I didn't get invited to many committee meetings because they live in a bubble. And sometimes it takes someone to just slap them in the face a little bit with a little bit of reality. And I always did that. I do it still today. Not everybody has the internet. Not everybody has vacation still. So, yeah, great comment, good observation, but I think, yes, they all live in a bubble. Everybody has their own little bubble they live in, and, you don't recognize it when you're in the bubble. Some Sometimes you have to get out of the bubble, and that's hard because when you get out of the bubble, you're leaving a comfortable place, and we're not built to be uncomfortable. So, uh, yeah, I fight that battle all the time. And when I do, people get angry, um, especially when you start talking about the poverty. I'm big into poverty and recognizing a lot of times poverty is a decision you make. Sure, you're born into it, but largely as an adult, it's a decision you make. Me and my sister disagree on that. She almost thinks if you're born into poverty, you stay in poverty. There you go. Yeah. I did someone said they had friends that were surprised that their parents didn't give 'em money. Well, hell, mom and dad didn't have no money, right? Correct? We had free and we had fr we had free and reduced lunch when I was growing up, and we had the card back then. Nowadays, they just have a number, and those kids go by and tell their number. Every kid has a number, whether they pay or not. So you don't know who the really poor people are, really. The poor people of today, and I say this all the time, I'm gonna say it again. The poor people of today have almost the same stuff as a lower middle income kid has. They all got good shoes, they all got good clothes, they all got the bare minimum because someone has give it to them or they're in a program, and I don't have a problem with that. But the poor today don't really stick out like they did 20 years ago, 30 years ago for sure. And if you go on the Wayback Machine back in 1975 through 79, when I was in high school, we had the card, the punch card, the free and reduced punch card. So before you went through that line, you had to whip out that little card. You had to let the little lunchroom lady to poke a hole in your card because it had Monday through Friday. And if you had that card, you were free or reduced lunch. I was embarrassed when I got older. I was embarrassed to take out that card because I didn't want people to know I was poor. Today, you got a number. So, you know, poverty is a real thing. It still exists, even though you might not know it. And food stamps look like dollar bills. True. You know, we were on food stamps. We had them little coupon cards you had to cut out. So, you know, it's better for the poor nowadays, but it still ain't great, you know. But there's poor out there and people live in their own bubble. And some people want to ignore it. No, see, there you go. Someone in the comments said it's in the southern states. That's baloney. That's hogwash. If you think poverty is just a southern thing, you need to get yourself checked. Read a book. Look at a newspaper. Poverty is everywhere. Go to the projects. Go to the inner city. Go to any city and you see. It ain't a southern thing. I'm sorry to tell you. And when you say stuff like that, that shows how ignorant you are. It is not a Southern thing. That's nuts. And see, you say that as a way to minimize. In the comments, someone said, "Oh, that's a Southern thing." Does that make it any better? Does that make it any better? Can you ignore it easier if it's in a Southern state? Does that give you license to ignore it because it's in a Southern state? Probably a state that you think is a red state. Does that help you ignore it? Does that make you feel better so you can ignore it? See, those kind of comments are crazy nuts. I didn't say that. I didn't tie any political affiliation to it. I'm saying poverty is everywhere, you know? It's everywhere. And so when you dismiss it by saying it's a Southern thing, I disagree. But you can feel better about it if you can call it that. It helps you feel better. So that's craziness. I saw a conference once. I was in a conference once and it was in a big city. And I saw this lady give testimony. She was wealthy at the time she was speaking at our conference. And she said, as a young kid, she went to, I lived, I watched this lady and she gave a presentation about poverty. And it was for programs that I used to write grants for and had a lot of success writing grants to provide services to really poor people. And she said she went to sleep many times and she would hear the rats in the cupboard. And got old enough, and you think about this, she was old enough to know that those rats were eating her food. And she had to get up in the middle of the night and take some of her food and hide it in her bed. That's poverty. That's poverty. When you got a little 9-year-old kid that understands if I don't get this food, that rat's gonna eat it and I'm gonna go hungry again. That's poverty. It's everywhere. And you can minimize it by calling it a Democrat or Republican, but there you go. How the question is how likely is it that people stay in poverty? It's actually, if you're born into it, most likely you will stay into it, but that's not because you're forced into it. It's because you haven't learned the behaviors that'll get you out of it. You are you are largely a product of your environment. That's not just your global environment, that's your home environment. If you've got parents that have never graduated from the 8th grade, you are way more likely not to graduate. Statistically, I'm going to tell you this. If you are raised in poverty, you have a less than a 1.5% chance compared to everybody else. If you're in the poverty level, the chances of you graduating the incidence of people that get out of that and go on to get a degree. Now, a degree isn't a measurement of success, but it is in some places. If you don't have education, you can't get a job. And I'll address your comment in a minute. Someone in the comments said that I'm basically saying it's your fault. No, that's exactly not what I'm saying. Don't you get the crap out of your ears and listen. So if you are surrounded by poverty, what happens is you don't learn the skills that's necessary to get out of poverty. And so let's take poverty out of the equation. Let's not look at poverty, and I'll show you a way to verify what I'm saying is true. Look at lawyers, look at doctors, look at school teachers, look at the military. Parents who come from the military have a higher degree of having a child that goes to the military. If you have a mother and father and they're a teacher, the chances of their kids becoming teachers is astronomically high. If you have a parent that's a coal miner, the chances of that child being a coal miner is high. You got doctors and lawyers, their parents. You got kids of doctors and lawyers. The chances of them becoming a doctor or lawyer is higher than the average person. Why? Because they're raised in a different type of environment. If you are raised in poverty, the chances of you staying in poverty are high because you learn the skills necessary to live in poverty. You learn those skills. You learn about the ways to manipulate the social services. You learn how to do that. So it's a learned behavior. Learning to get by is a skill, just like learning to be a doctor. It's a skill. So so it's a skill. Like the little girl in the bed. You tell me no one told that little girl that I talked about earlier, no one told that little girl, "Hey, baby, in the middle of the night, you're gonna take your food and hide it underneath your cover because them rats come out and they're gonna eat your food and you're gonna go hungry." Nobody told that girl that, but she learned. If I don't get that damn food, that rat's gonna get it and I ain't gonna get it. It's a skill. It's skill. You learn it. Now, hopefully, by the grace of God, you're born with more than 2 brain cells, and as you get older, you start expanding your scope of where you're looking. You look past your home, you look past maybe even your little community, and you look out at the global world, and you say, "Shit, not everybody looks like me. What can I do?" There's other people doing things, and I see those other things, and I'd like to do those other things. How do I do that? And then you learn the skills to get out of that hole. So, yeah, it's like any other skill, it's learned. Doc mothers mothers and fathers that have kids that are doctors, they're all doctors because they learn those skills, they pick them up just by seeing, by watching, by listening. They learn, that's how they become doctors and lawyers and firemen and even coal miners. They call it the cycle of poverty for a reason, and it's a horrible thing to call it that because I would call it that there's a cycle of wealth. We don't talk about the cycle of wealth. So, yeah, I have strong passions about that stuff. I've seen it. I've studied it. I understand it. I've crawled out of it, you know? Yeah. I'm sorry to bore you all. I'm about ready to go. It's been a good conversation. I have missed a couple questions probably. I had my earphones out. Guys, I'm visually impaired. I didn't tell you in the beginning. Thank you. But I try to. give everybody information. I do lectures on this stuff. I study it. I understand it. Um, Still eating on the pretzel. So any of you all, if you are the leader or the head of an organization and you've got budget money for me to come speak to your group, I can give you a really good presentation on how to become successful despite any problem that you've got. It's that session is called how to get your rear end out of a crack. I know how to do that. I've done it. I've helped other people do it. I've got one on addiction. I can come speak to your group on addiction and recovery, what it takes to be successful in that. Um, how to get how to become successful in the classroom. I charge $3,500 for my presentations. I'll go anywhere. 3,500 bucks plus travel. Don't gotta stay there. True. True, true, true. I like sharing a message. That's why I'm here. But this ain't about me. It's about you. It is about you guys. Thank you very much. Another 20 minutes, fellas, and I will be out of here. So let's talk about you. Anybody got a question? I'm sure I probably scared everybody off, didn't I love David Goggins, but he gets on my nerves, boy. It's his language. If he would stop the F bomb, his message is really good. But the F bomb, and I've watched David Goggins a lot. His backstory is crazy good, but it's too much language for me. I do listen to podcasts, yeah. Most of my thank you. Well, thank you very much. I have n Come on, Biz. I didn't know you're still listening, Bob. My kids get embarrassed sometimes, I think, when I go on these rolls or rants. Um, but I do like sharing my story. That's why I like public speaking. Oh, she turned me off. My own daughter turned me off. Yeah, but I love speaking. No, my wife's in the other part of the house. Well, I would like to get a chance. I would love to get a chance to go share my story. I've got 4 4 polished, seminars that I give, and, love traveling. Before the virus hit us, I traveled a lot, couple of times a year to go out and give my presentations, and I would like to get back into it. So any of y'all know anybody looking for a keynote speaker, a guest speaker, I'm your guy. I I don't ever someone in the chat wants to know if I ever wonder what it'd be like if I was raised in a wealthy family. I will tell you, I never I've never thought of that. When I was growing up, I never thought, "Well, shoot, I'd like to be rich." I never thought that way. I always figured I wanted to be in a position where I could make my own money. I never looked at it as I'd like to be rich like that other person. I never did look at it that way. My goals were simple. I wanted to be warm in the winter, and I wanted a reliable new car. That was all. Just warm in the winter and a little food and have a good car. That's it. So I never looked at it that way, and I still don't look at it that way. Um, the next pot, mine, I have bad vision. I have something called macular degeneration, and I've not been able to read a textbook since I've been in about the 9th grade. So there was a time when I used to think all the time, "I wish I had good vision." Um, yeah, but, my next podcast is probably gonna be this week or next week. It's gonna be his name is Tommy Chamberlain. He is an archaeologist and an attorney. So, that's gonna be my next one, guys, but I would love to come to your town if you know anybody that's looking for a presentor, um, something, so would love to come travel and share my message, and, it'd be fun. But otherwise, guys, I'm here to help you get your rear end out of the gutter. Mhm. Merchandise, books, find a way to support if you like what I'm doing and you like what tell friends. Share this with your Facebook community, your other communities, and, let's see if we can get moving on, some exposure here. I like exposure. It's good for you. So, guys, listen, I'm gonna call it a day. I'm gonna go and relax, and actually, I'm not gonna relax. I've got some videos I'm gonna edit and pop up on my social media. We're going out tomorrow. So, guys, I'm getting ready to push out a video on, asbestos-related cancers. Take a look at it. If it comes across your FYP, push it along for me, make some comments, share it, push it along. If you see any of my content, listen, look at if you see any of my content come across your page, look at it through the whole duration, make a comment, and share it. That gets things going. Look at it through the whole duration. Usually I cut a piece of video. Won't take you more than a minute and a half of your time. And if you wanna take a look at some of my stuff and show how to support, you can always send a donation through that app, that dollar sign app. You can donate there. You can look at my merchandise. I've got really cool merchandise you see right there. You can get that on a hoodie. You can get that on a hoodie, on a cap. I've got red, white, and blue. Get ready for some, of, the 4th of July, Independence Day. Dress out in a shirt that says, "You can't touch this without a warrant." And if you have an issue and you want personal attention, you can always book a call. So, guys, I'm here Monday, Wednesday, and Friday on the YT and the FB. On TT, I'm here a lot on TT. Some of y'all know. Help me spread the word, spread the word, spread the word. And I appreciate guys. Listen, one thing, if life and law collide in your world and you don't know what to do, you ain't got nobody to turn to because everybody's tired of hearing about your problem. What are you supposed to do, guys? There's two options. I give you two options whenever you get in that situation and your rear end is in a crack. If your rear end's in a crack, if life and law, give me a holler, Bob. Thank you. Well, you can pray. Foller, holler, and give and book a call. Foller, holler, book a call. I love it. That's my favorite. Foller and holler, right? That's it, Sue.